Jorge Linares versus Jack Catterall. Coming to you live from Liverpool, England. And this fight is set to take place at the lightweight limit of 140 pounds. Now, if you know anything about Jorge Linares and Jack Catterall, is that both of these combatants always come to fight and are sure to give the fans their money worth each and every time that they step into the square circle. Now, as mentioned before, this fight will be held at 140 pounds, which is the lightweight division, which is quickly rising to be, if not the top, arguably one of the top divisions in boxing, with the likes of notables such as Teofimo Lopez, Regis Prograis, Devin Haney. You got Sabril Matias, Gary Antoine Russell Jr., Ryan Garcia, and the list goes on and on and on. You even got our two combatants, Jorge Linares and Jack Catterall. So without, any further ado, I'll just go ahead and get into the prediction I have for this fight. Jorge Linares is coming into this bout with a record of 47-8. Now, if you look at that record, one thing that should scream at you is Jorge Linares is a very, very experienced fighter. He's very ring savvy, and he has been in the ring and shared that square circle with some of the best of the best. Now, at the peak of Jorge Linares' career, he was on a 13-fight win streak with notable wins over Luke Campbell, Maricito Hesta, Anthony Corolla, and many others along the way. And that streak was derailed in 2018 by none other than Vasily High-Tech Lomachenko. Now, for Linares, losing to Lomachenko isn't really nothing to, hang your head about, being, the technical aspect that Lomachenko does bring into the ring. Jorge Linares also lost to Devin Haney. He was clearly outboxed, in both of those fights in which he fought Lomachenko and Devin Haney. But in both of those fights, Linares landed very significant shots that changed, the temperature of the fight for the time being. Right before Lomachenko stopped Jorge Linares, Linares hit Loma with a shot that put Loma right to the canvas. And even though, it might have been a flash knockdown, that changed the landscape of that fight in which Loma was dominating. And just like that, at the snap of a finger, Jorge Linares was able to put Loma on the canvas. And then if you go back and watch the 9th round of the fight that Linares had with Devin Haney, Linares was able to hit Devin Haney with a shot that wobbled Devin Haney, and Haney never really recovered from that shot, and Haney went on to win the decision, being that he banked enough of the early rounds. So I say all of that to say, Jorge Linares is 38 years of age and is fighting Father Time and Jack Catterall. So, your speed, your reflexes, your timing, they may leave, but as boxing fans and fans of this sport, we all know that your punching power is the last thing to go. The big question with Jorge Linares in this bout is, can his punching power equate as it did in junior lightweight, coming up to lightweight at 140 pounds against a natural 140 pounder in Jack Catterall. And speaking of Jack Catterall is coming into this bout with a record of 27-1. And that one lone defeat, a controversial one, if I might say so myself, in which many boxing fans, including myself, scored that fight for Jack Catterall. Jack Catterall was fighting Josh Taylor in that fight, and I thought he dominated the fight, especially in the early rounds. And Josh Taylor came back late. He made a run for it, being the champion that he is late in that fight. But Jack Catterall did more than enough to secure that victory against Josh Taylor. Now, that is the only blemish that is on Jack Catterall's record. The last time that we saw Jack Catterall in the ring was May 27th of this year against Darryl Foley, a bout in which Jack Catterall, he looked pretty good, and he took Darryl Foley into the deep waters, and the fight went to a decision in which Jack Catterall won that fight by unanimous decision. But the good thing about that was Jack Catterall was able to get the rounds in. And, Jack Catterall is no spring chicken himself. Being, at the age of 30, he's probably, at the peak or close to the peak of his career. And I'm thinking he would, want to start getting those big fights in sooner than later. So, it makes for an interesting bout between these two. And I'll just go ahead and get into my prediction for this bout. My prediction for this fight is that Jorge Linares will come out early and, give a pretty good account of himself in the early rounds of this fight. But I expect Jack Catterall to do more than enough and more than Jorge Linares in the latter portions of this fight to secure a win via unanimous decision. So we are taking Jack Catterall to defeat Jorge Linares by decision. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons. We do appreciate it here, and it goes a long way. So thank each and every one of you for watching. And as always, like, subscribe, protect yourself at all times. We out. Peace.